Professor Sagay, in a chat with the Independent newspaper to commemorate his 80th birthday, said it was not so during the independence era because then leaders were dedicated and lived modestly. He said now people acquire public funds in a very reckless and thoughtless manner and amass wealth they cannot use in their lifetime when other people are languishing in misery. Also, there is the issue of corruption which we have always had but has now gone progressively worse. This hardly existed at independence era when we had highly dedicated leaders, politicians who felt that the honor of controlling the levers of power in this country was their reward, not money. They live modestly and dedicated their lives to serving the country. I talk about Chief Obafemi Awolowo all the time, but virtually all the nationalists are like that. They served with diligence and commitment. But all that is gone now, particularly with the coming of the military. We have now come to the age where you acquire public funds in a reckless and thoughtless manner and amass wealth they cannot use even in their lifetime when other people are suffering in misery. That has gone worse and worse. It has gotten worse and worse progressively, and with each new change in governance in our political life, from first, second, third, and fourth republic that we are in now, the quality of men running the republic has seriously degenerated, he said. Sage retweeted that things have gotten worse as people are now more concerned with amassing wealth at the expense of those who brought them to power. According to him, leaders don't care about the masses. He said virtually what we have now is about the worst that we have ever had in our public life. Many of these present leaders don't care. All that matters to them is accumulation of wealth without caring about the people who have entrusted them with power. Leaders don't care about the masses, and the masses themselves are not better in the sense that this lack of care for others and corruption goes down right to every bottom. From top to bottom, nobody cares. Nobody has a sense of respect for the lives and the dignity of others. Everybody takes advantage of the other at every level. However, Sage said elites are to be blamed for the decadence because they provided an example. I blame the elites than the politicians and the leaders because they provided an example. They would have been able to enforce that standard and values that they themselves were espousing. If they themselves are practicing at the lowest level of values, then there is nobody to control the rest of the society. Nigerians now relate with each other in a dog-eat-dog and survival of the fittest manner, and it is really terrible, he said. So, but Professor Sage, you are the one in charge of what they call a corruption one thing. I don't know, they call it Packard. I don't even know the full meaning of that, but that is why you are there. And you guys, you are part of this regime. We are not supposed to be hearing this kind of a thing at this point in time, because Buhari told us that if Nigeria does not kill corruption, that corruption will kill Nigeria. 6 years down the line, we are still hearing all this. Who are you to blame? Are you not supposed to put things in order? You were even talking about what usually happened or what used to happen then, independence era. But then the problem has already, it didn't just start now. What we are experiencing now didn't just start all of a sudden. It started from that, since that time. And people were, because it is not only money, just like they wanted the head of Goodluck Jonathan, that stealing, corruption is not only stealing money. Nepotism, not obeying the rule of law, that's part of corruption. All of them are embedded in themselves together. So now everybody knew quite already that corruption is something that we really need to tackle. But at the end of the day, your party came up and said, oh, we are going to do this, we are going to do that, and people entrusted this governance or the government or the leadership into your hands because you people told us that you have experience, much experience, and that's why you don't want the younger ones to come in. Thinking that as you are coming in 6 years ago, that yes, you are going to put some things in order because you now know the system. He's celebrating his 80th birthday, so he's not a small child. He's not a young man. He has about how many decades of experiences. The same thing with Buhari. But at the end of the day, you'll be shocked that even the children of nowadays even know better than you guys, because the experiences that you have gotten, and you've gotten, we're not seeing them. We thought that by the time you came in 2015, that you would have put some system in place to be able to curb all of those things. Are we going to be complaining like this when you guys told us that if we don't kill corruption, that corruption will kill us? So why are we still talking about that now? And it's even worse now. We're even talking about a PDP era, but it's even worse now. So what have you guys done to eradicate this whole thing to the barest minimum? Instead of it to be going down, it's escalating. The corruption is escalating. So who are you telling? You are part of this government. So what are you guys going to do? 6 years down the line, you are still complaining that corruption is now worse now. Everything is worse under this government. Everything is worse. Things were bad, but now things are worse. Because the way you guys have handled everything, it shows that you don't even have the experience that we are even we thought of. This man lost his credibility since he became part of the Buhari clique. They will not even talk to Buhari, because even the other day he was even talking about let everybody, Buhari should allow people to go and get their own weapons so that they can protect themselves. But he said, the problem is not Buhari. The corruption is still going to tell us that it is not Buhari. If you as a leader, you don't know what and what to put in place to be able to curb all of those excesses, all those bad eggs, you don't even have system in place to be able to shut them out. And who are you telling? Of course, they will tell you that it is not their problem. It is not their fault. It is not Buhari's fault. See, talking about corruption, and you are part of the people who are in charge of a anti-corruption crusade. You are the brain boss and champion of the most corrupt governments in Nigeria. Keep your opinion to yourself or resign. Shameless people. You told us that Buhari was the only answer and remedy for corruption in Nigeria. But you told us. Did you say was? Do you know what that means for the office you continue to occupy? It means you and your principal have completely failed Nigerians and should have no reason to continue to occupy that office. And you can imagine. That is part of what we are talking about. No integrity. You are telling us. So what do we now do? You are the one in charge now. What do we now do? Why are you just saying this now? Is it now that you are realizing? So what have you been advising the president all this while? Professor Sir, you and Professor Shibaju have failed the nation woefully than your principal. Professor Sagay had been defending the current looters. Why this unsolicited confession? Can you imagine? Okay, there is God, you people should continue. So guys, let's hear your opinion and let's know your thoughts on what Professor Sagay has said. And what did he just say? He said corruption has gone progressively worse in Nigeria.